Pakistan cricket at its best. 1 minute down, next minute up.
Thanks very much, everybody, for joining me once again. Saj DK bringing you another exclusive interview for PakPassion. Delighted to be joined by one of our regular guests on PakPassion, a man who's held every position almost in cricket. Former player, former captain, former umpire, a Lancashire legend, fantastic commentator throughout his career, and he's still doing a bit of commentary these days as well. Journalist as well, the one and only, the legend, David Bumble Lloyd. Bumble, hope you're well.
Yeah, all good. The weather's broken at long last, and it's absolutely pouring down here. I mean, North Yorkshire, deepest, darkest North Yorkshire, it's pouring down. So, I mean, that helps the farmers.
Let's talk a bit about India-England, Bumble. I mean, what a test match that was at Lord's. Fantastic viewing.
Do you know, I think that game is going to go down as one of the greats. You know, a wonderful game. We talk often about 2005, that Ashes series, but this had everything. And it started off as a slow burner, and then it sort of sprung into life. You know, there's that spark and a bit of sort of argy-bargy between the two teams, and it sparked everybody off. And then finished up a fantastic game of cricket.
I've never played at Lord's, Bumble. You have. How different does it feel? You know, what's the atmosphere like? Do you feel that it's a different vibe when you're playing there?
Well, it's a very sedate vibe. And I think the vibe actually it comes from radio and TV, that at the ground, it's uncanny that, I don't know, 25,000 people, maybe 30,000, and they're in the ground. And then after a period of time, it seems half empty because everybody's in the outer. They're all having some food, having a drink, having a chat, having a picnic. And so they're actually not viewing the main event. And so as a player, it always seems quite sedate. You can get to some grounds which are raw, you know, a real raw atmosphere in all parts of the world. And you know, it's totally different at Lord's. It's quite unique, actually, that everybody wants to play there, but it's quite just I don't know. It's difficult to describe what it's like. It's not intimidating. It's not an intimidating place to play.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, because there's nothing like the Western Terrace or, the Holly stand at Edgbaston. You don't get any of that, do you, really?
No, I mean, you go to anywhere in the world. You go to the Wankhede Stadium, you go to Barbados, you go to anywhere in Karachi or Lahore, and you know you've got a game on. It's a little bit at Lord's, which is lovely. I made my debut in Test match cricket at Lord's. It's a little bit strawberries and cream.
Bumble, you mentioned the argy bargy. Were you a sledger, or were you more into the shoulder barging?
Well, I played for 19 years or so, a bit longer really. If you second 11, nobody ever said a word to me, and I never said a word back. It just didn't happen, and it's quite recent that the word sledging has come in. And I've reflected on it that I think you've got to respect each other as opponents, respect the game. But I've listened, and I'm fine with it because it adds a bit of spice, and we're in a different sort of era. As long as there's a deterrent, as long as the match referee can say, okay, now. You know, the lad Siraj, who looks a very combative cricketer, got fined 15% of his match fee. How much is it? What's his match fee? Nobody knows. You get told all the time, 10%, 15%, 20%. How much is it? And so, writing in the paper, I've said, look, I'm absolutely fine. You do what you want. And if you step over the line, the umpire issues a yellow card. There's a yellow card. And if you do it again, there's another yellow card and you're off the field, which is football. And so, I'd quite like that as a deterrent. So spice it up, of course. But, I think it's a little bit cheap to, when you've dismissed a guy, to go straight in his face and scream at him. It's not necessary. But as long as there's a deterrent to it, kick. It was interesting.
Where do you draw the line, though? I mean, a few words here and there, bit of aggression here and there, that's fine. But I guess when you're shoulder barging somebody, that's a bit too far, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And where's it going to end? I mean, a shoulder barge, he didn't actually barge him, he just tapped him. But if you look a bit deeper and say, well, what's the end product? And if it's physical, if you touch somebody physically and knock them to the floor, you've got a big problem. Now, we've never got to that. We don't have that. But as long as the umpires have got some authority to legislate against what they consider to be poor behaviour, which in football is a bad tackle. A bad tackle will get you a yellow card. And we live with it. That's how it is. But in cricket, there doesn't seem to be much of a deterrent. And I've been for years, absolute years, saying yellow card, red card, do what you want, players. But there's an authority that will say yellow card, another yellow card, you're off. You're out.
Interesting point you make, Bumble, and obviously you're a former umpire yourself. Do you think the modern day umpires have the respect of the players? Because I remember a time when Dickie Bird was around, David Shepherd. Nobody argued with them. There was no back chat. Players got on with the game. They took the decision pre-DRS and all this stuff. But these days, the umpires, the players are almost in the faces of the umpires at times, and they're doing what they want.
Yeah, well, there's two things that you mentioned there. The word respect, which I'm a massive believer. I know that I'm quite old now, but you respect the opposition. You play hard, you play tough, and you meet up after it, and you have a chat. But you've got to respect the opposition. You've got to respect the game. Just respect the game of cricket. And so DRS came into the game, which meant a challenge. You're challenging the umpire. The umpire's made a decision, and DRS has given the players the opportunity to challenge the umpire. And so when it first came in, the umpires were really touchy about it all, that they've made a mistake. Oh, my goodness, I've made a mistake. Now, they will sort of say yes or no. And if you want to challenge it, and you've got 3 challenges, over to you. If you want to challenge it. And I think Shafadullah had a wonderful game. I thought he was excellent because he's obviously a not outer, and he's consistent by saying not out. But if you want to challenge him, he actually gets 95+% right. He gets them right.
Now, a topic that you feel very strongly about, Bumble, excuse me, is overrates. The overrate at Lords was appalling. And, people are paying 160, 170 pounds for an adult ticket per day, and they're seeing 75, 78, 80 overs. So they're losing out. I mean, what's going on here, Bumble? Why are teams not hitting that 90 over mark a day? And what can be done about it?
Well, they're not hitting 90 over again because there's no deterrent. It doesn't really matter. Nobody bothers too much. You might get a demerit point in the World Test Championship. The other argument, and playing devil's advocate, is that it's a fantastic game of cricket. Does it matter? Well, it does actually. And, the time wasting that goes on is 100% down to the players. It's the players that are time wasting. The umpires have a directive from the governing body, which is ICC, to be softly, try to work with the players, don't get involved too much, and so they're very passive. That's the way that it is. But when you see, and it's happened, I think 3 times in this Test series, that a batter has a back massage whilst batting. Well, and that takes 10 minutes. That's 10 minutes. And so I was very sarcastic in the paper and saying, well, we could do more in that 10 minutes. I mean, throw some rose petals down. Let's get some soothing music played whilst the back massage is going on. And the Irish guards who are there at the ground, maybe they could do a circuit to the ground and play a selection of Susan Arches. Let's take it a little bit further than it is. Now, I'm absolutely certain that the governing body, the ICC, will clamp down on that. You can't just randomly say, well, I'll have a back massage. I got absolutely pelted on social media from Indian spectators saying that, well, you obviously don't know that he's got a back condition. Yes, I do know that he's got a back condition, and you don't treat it whilst he's batting. It's as simple as that. You can't just, as you say, 160, 170 pounds to watch somebody having a back massage. No, I'm not.
I mean, the other thing is, Bumble, where does this bloody stop? Because you've just finished lunch, you've come back out, and within 15 minutes they're asking for a drink. I mean, what's next? Somebody walks out with a trolley full of cakes and some tea and coffee for them. It's just getting stupid, isn't it?
Yeah, it can. I mean, again, sarcastic. We'll bring a table and chairs and let's bring some strawberries and cream out and have a sit down. Let's have a picnic. Because this is coming more and more into the game. That just randomly, oh, I'll stop and I'll have a drink, thanks. Well, there is a drinks break. I was on that international panel of choosing umpires, and we asked about this. This is a few years ago. And there's no medical reason, no medical reason at all, that anybody needs a drink other than the designated drinks break. And so therefore, stop them coming on. You can't do it. I'm sorry. And if what they'll do is run past you and give him the drink, I couldn't care less. Well,
yeah. You mentioned deterrence, Bumble, and I had this idea. I don't know how realistic it is, but if you've bowled 83 overs in a day instead of 90, you're 7 overs less than it should be. I had a thought that it should be a penalty of 5 runs per over. So those 7 overs short, the opposition get 35-run bonus, or 35 runs come off your total.
Well, it's fine, but who's doing the delaying? The other thing, I'll give you another one and this is foolproof, absolutely foolproof. The laws of the game will tell you that the batsman has to be ready when the bowler is at the end of his normal run. In normal circumstances, the batsman has to be ready. Just bowl. If he isn't stood there, just bowl. Bowl to hit the stumps. If he isn't stood there, they'll get there. They will. It's dead simple. It's in the laws of the game. And I'll just repeat that. The batsman has to be ready when the bowler, the wording is very similar to this, at the end of his normal run. Add this to it. If he isn't there, just bowl. Just bowl. And if you hit the stumps, he's out.
Fair enough, yeah. How good was it to see Jofra Archer back?
I guarantee, Saj, absolutely 100% guarantee. Yeah, well, I mean, that when you want a bit of stardust in your team, he's been out the team for 4 years and bowling 90 miles an hour. And I thought, well, he's going to be easing his way back in. But, you saw his third spell and his late 80s, 90 mile an hour. So fantastic for England, from England's viewpoint, and absolutely thrilling for the lad. He must have been so frustrated that he's missing cricket. He took a fantastic caught and bowled as well. He's just a true athlete, and it's great to see him back.
And India 2-1 down now, Bumble. Bit of pressure on them now, I guess.
Yeah, and we go to Old Trafford, and all the talk has been that Jasprit Bumrah will play 3 out of 5. Well, he's got to play this game at Old Trafford to get them back into it to 2-2. And then India would then make a call that it's 2-2. He's got to play again. If England win this next test match of 3-1, he won't play. But I'm absolutely certain that he's penciled in for this next match to bring India back to 2-2 with an option of playing in that final test match. And I should think the player himself would say, I will play. And so they declared, didn't they? Gautam Gambhir said he's going to play 3 out of 5. Well, I think they've got room for manoeuvre that he might actually play 4.
Yeah. And finally, Bumble, very sad to see the state of West Indies cricket. I mean, I grew up admiring the great West Indies teams, and you played against some great West Indian players of yesteryear. And, they were formidable. They were the world's #1 team, and everybody wanted to play that brand of exciting calypso cricket. 27 all out against Australia. I know Australia, a tough opponent, but the decline in West Indies cricket is alarming.
It is, and it seemed to be in Jamaica one of those pitches where the bowlers were right on top. Australia weren't getting many runs either, so it was a bowling game. But such a shame that the 27 all out in the last innings. I've noticed that the president has tried to get a review and is bringing Clive Lloyd and Viv Richards and Brian Lara, or has invited them. You and I have chatted previously that we've just seen a fantastic test match at Lloyd's, and the ground is full to the rafters. It's full to capacity. It's a wonderful series. The Ashes series is fantastic. But from the broadcast deals, the big 3 take the majority of the money. So that's Australia, India, England. They take the majority of the money from all the broadcast deals, which isolates your West Indies, your New Zealand, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. They're not on it's not a level playing field. And so, people will say that Test cricket is the be all and end all. And I agree with that. It is a fantastic game. But you've got to have a level playing field, and you've got to give teams like this a lift. How do you give them the lift financially? To give them the wherewithal to develop the players with facilities and coaches and so on. Because they don't, West Indies in particular, don't have a big broadcast deal. They don't. Whereas Australia, England, India do. Now, we've got to maintain the competition between all the teams. And I'm sorry that money pays the rent. It's how it is. Your finances pay the rent.
Yeah. Well, fantastic, Bumble. Always a pleasure listening to your views, and I'm sure you'll have a great time at Old Trafford, where I'm sure you'll be one of the VIPs during that test match.
Sajid, I'm working. We've got Legends Lounge, and I'm looking after that. I did it last year. It was fabulous. And so, Sajid, it's fingers crossed that the weather is decent.
I'm sure it will be, Bumble, and I'm sure you'll have a fantastic time. It'll be a great test match and a great spectacle. Once again, really appreciate your time, and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks again, Sajid.
Thanks, Bumble. Thank you.